I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're about to say welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching the Apothecary Diaries Season 2, Episode 4. Last episode, there was murder. There was fungus. There was corpses. There was also vocational training. Amazing.
The vocational training is definitely something to be extra excited about going forward.
And murder.
And what he said.
Concubine Jin, Tao replacing her, then Tao getting axed. I love it. Amazing. The Apothecary Diaries. I'm ready.
I am also ready, but I did want to bring up one thing
from
last episode. I wanted to bring up, just really quick going into this next episode, what we saw from Hong Young in the past episode in terms of like how kind of brutally honest she was to Mao Mao, the drop of like decorum to be able to be honest, like I'm kind of glad this threat is out of the way. That came as a huge surprise to me, and it definitely, I think when I think about her character now and the state of affairs, I feel nervous for her. There's so much pressure, not only on Lady Gyokyu, but on Hong Young in terms of the survival of this baby, in terms of no one learning that Gyokyu is pregnant. And when I think about when we first met her, how she came in like the savior, you know? She dropped that vase, it's gonna cost the kidnappers, not Mao Mao. Amazing. But now I almost feel like, what are they doing with this character where they're having her, of all people, kind of drop her wall down and be honest with Mao Mao here?
Does that give you more or less confidence in her in terms of trust and in terms of the baby going out through Gyokyu? Do you think?
See, I trust her 100%. Yeah. I'm not worried about her doing anything intentionally wrong. I'm worried about someone getting framed. I'm worried about an accidental issue. Like, Fang Meng didn't mean to kill the baby with the honey, you know?
Yeah.
Like, initially. I'm worried about someone finding out that Gyokyu's pregnant and doing something, and Hong Young at least even feeling the blame herself, whether she's punished or not. I think it's just incredibly interesting to point out what she does here in position with Mao Mao to open herself up to kind of saying something she probably shouldn't say out loud. Definitely, like, you have to be aware of the company that you hold when you say things like that. Or at least we haven't
seen her or that side of her yet. Interesting.
Yep.
You ready?
Yep.
Sweet.
I went into this opening looking to see if there were two, like, new ladies in waiting in the Gyokyu scene, and they're not there. I was like, oh, maybe we already saw them.
Oh my god.
Who was that?
Ah, the mirror. We see it in the intro. The clarity.
Ooh, when we saw the blonde ladies, there was a bunch of like rectangles covered in tarps.
That must be so surreal.
It gives me puppy not realizing that the reflection is not another dog.
Yeah.
We did know that this was the most people coming for the caravan ever.
Ooh.
So I wasn't wrong for season 1 wondering. Okay. Introduction to twins?
年頃になると過保護とも言えるほどになりまして、一人はもちろんのこと、二人でも外に出ることは許されず、監視役の次女をつけられ、姉妹は家に閉じこもる日々でした。部屋の外にも下男を監視役に置き、夜は鍵をかけて出られないようにしたそうです。 もともと内向的な姉妹は一日中部屋で刺繍をしていましたが、
様、妹が1000人の子を身ごもりました。
次女がこっそり外出させたのでは。
いえ、外出させた次女は見せしめ的に解雇されました。
So someone
新しい
snuck
次
in.
女はあまり姉妹と接していなかったそうです。
確かに困った話ですが、私の領分ではない気がします。
そんなことがあるの？
実際に子が宿るのではなく、妊娠したように体が錯覚を起こすのです。義郎でも若い義女が好きな男の子供を身ごもったと言い出したことがありました。
実際に妊娠したわけではなくて？
はい、それでも月のものが止まったり、胸や腹が張ってきたり、思い込みが体に及ぼす影響は大きいんです。
The mind's a strong thing.
その妹が身ごもったことは確かなんです。
I believe that's so hard.
ええ、こちらに見取り図が。
We don't even get to go on a field trip there?
本宅とは西の渡り廊下でつながっています。
もし妹が抜け出すとしたら、
出入り口は西側の廊下にしかありません。あとは東側と南側に窓がありますが、ゲランが監視していました。
ゲナンはどのあたりから監視していたのでしょう。
南側の窓は本宅の3階から、東
The
側の
answer
窓は
would be one of them fell
監視してい
asleep.
たらしいです。ええ。ただ、姉妹は窓辺で刺繍をしていることが多かったそうで。
変わった趣味ですね。刺繍だなんて。
They make a doll.
They used a mirror to make it seem like two girls were in the room.
Fuck.
肝心なところはぼかしているような気がする。東と南、窓があるのは同じ部屋のようだ。
They're cunning.
寝室は姉妹で別々に用意して。
I saw that trick in a K-drama once.
監視は何人いたのですか
2人です。それぞれ持ち場はずっと同じでした。
If you know they're gonna be in that one spot.
そのくせ全ては語っていない。これは本当に知人の話なのか
Do you think he already knows the answer?
にしたいようなしたくないような。
そういえばシャオマオ、ジーン様からこと捨てで号が遅れそうなので詫びの品だそうです。
号？そういえばまだもらっていなかった。また頭突きをされてはたまらないと黙っていたが。
What a season ending, you know?
申し訳ありません。急に需要が高まったようで。
最近、神子様のもとに貴重な霊薬を送る者が多いと聞きましたよ。やけに熱心に探していると噂ですから。
まあそういうことで、こちらをどうぞ。
熊の胆のを乾かしたもので苦味がありますが、消化器系の病で重宝される貴重な生薬です。
喜んでいただけて何よりです。本当はジン様が直接渡した。
Of course he did!
わかりました。少しお待ちいただけますか。この木の実が姉妹だとして、いつも座っているのはこの辺りで合っていますか。
そうですね。
監視は2人、それぞれがいつも同じ場所で見張っていた。そこでこんな風に鏡を置いてみたらどうでしょう。
Oh, I love how dirty it is.
もう一つ木の実があるように見えます。
監視の位置からだと透明になるので、多少不自然でもわからないでしょう。
つまり部屋にいたのは一人だけで、もう一人は鏡に映った姿というわけですか。
二人はそれぞれ違うものを刺繍していたのでしょ。
ええ、動物だと聞いています。確か鳥とウサギとか。
例えばこんな絵だとすればどうでしょう。この絵を逆さまにすると笑った顔が
Wow.
のように見えませんか。
じゃあその刺繍も騙し絵だったってこと？
鏡に映って左右が逆になったら別のものに見えるような柄を刺繍したのかもしれません。一人が南側の窓辺で刺繍している間、もう一人が西側の出入り口から抜け出すのは可能だと思う。
If they're introverts, what are they talking about the entire time to each other? They're cunning, dude.
異国の特使が持ってきた姿見、あんなに美しく映るのだから、遠目に見れば十分間違えてしまうだろう。刺繍は上流階級の子女のたしなみだったそうだ。ガオシュン様は両家の子女が家を抜け出し子をはらんだと言ったが、どこまで本当なのか疑わしい。実際にはらんだのはもっと違う秘密なのかもしれない。
Carrying a bigger secret other than a child.
もあるだろう。もうこの U ターンで何を作ろうかな。
suspicion or spies being
真
introduced.
珠の涙を流す絶世の美女。
ああ、接待対応の交換に泣きつかれてな。
ジン様、わざわざお仕事を増やさなくても。
姿見といい、特使たちは一体何を考えているんだ。
So one of them snuck off.
真珠の涙を流す絶世の美女の話を聞いたことはないか？なんだ？
絶世の美人なら目の前にいますよと言いたいが、
月の星のような美女で、彼女が踊れば祝福するように光が舞い、その涙は真珠となりこぼれ落ちたとか。
月のせいですか。なんでまた急に？
今来ている特使のたっての願いでな。
特使というと裁縫の？
ああ、幼い頃特使は祖父から月のせいの話を何度も聞かされていたらしい。
See two of them there?
会ってみたいので探してほしいと言われたのだ。
祖父ということはかなり昔のことですね。
できる限り答えたい。何か噂だけでも聞いたことはないか
？50年前、花町の踊り子、月のせい。お、
もちろん何十年前の話だから。
The Madam of the Verdigris House.
Yeah.
生きてますよ。
本当か？
本当も何も、人士様は会ったこともあるじゃないですか。花
She's
町
in
で
the. Oh my god.
私が？
ええ、
それらしい人物に会った記憶はないが、
す
What?
ぐ
You
に
didn't
思い当たら
recognize
な
her?
くても無理ないと思います。
まさか。
そのまさかです。やり手ババアですよ。
Perfect.
召喚の。
まあどんな方なの？
Not a moon fairy.
椅子さえ積めばすぐ参じると思いますけど、どうしますか？
あ、いや、それは。
でも、先方も50年前の人物だと分かってるのでしょ？
Yeah, they're
周り
expecting
の
the
美女では
age.
ダメなのですか？
月のせいほどではなくても粒揃いを集めたつもりだったが、相手は満足した様子はなく、むしろ鼻で笑うようだったと。
どんなやつだよ。失礼ですが、その美女たちに夜のお相手の方は。
マンモ
その手は無理だった。特使は女性だからな。
ああ、それで人士様に話が回ってきたのか。誰もが見とれる容姿を持ち、性別は一応男。女性を夢中にさせるのに十分な逸材である。色仕掛けを本気にされ、よとぎを求められても使えるものがない。もちろん女の身でありながら特使という立場にあれば、そういう浅はかな真似はしないだろうが、避けておくに越したことはない。その特使というのはどれほど
Mama was still
重要な相手
talking
なの
about
で
it
しょう
as if it's like a
西と北
singular.
の交易拠点を抑えている。
And Jinshi's been saying
今
they.
回キャラバンの規模が大きかったのもお互いに新たな交易の話を進めたいからだ。
遠方の国では他国との婚姻が進み、そこら中に美男美女がいると聞いたことがあります。そんな国の人間に月のせいとまで言わせたとは。香に幻覚剤でも混ぜたのでしょうか。
そんなことをするのか。この際何でもいい。何か当時の情報はないのか。
よほど困っているな。では藁にもすがるつもりで。わざわざ来てもらって悪いね。
Hello, Straw.
なんだか妙な話を持ってきたね。ずいぶんしけたとこだね。一杯も出ないのかい？
ばあさん昔、異国の特使の接待をしたんだって。
ああ、そうだよ。50年以上前だったかね。前の市場様の時代さ。元は遺跡を利用して作られた町があって、物見湯さんの人がたくさん来てたんだ。人の往来の多いところだったから、急に都になると決まって、一悶着あったらしいけど、
They made it the capital because of how popular it was.
元は何かの祭儀場で、果樹園の近くに綺麗な池と建物があってね。
それって先日訪れた高級北側には
あー
果樹園があった。
ここを舞台にした踊り手の主役として花町から選ばれたのが私だったのさ。
選ばれた理由は？
そりゃ当時の花町で最上級の妓女だったからだよ。私を主役に十数人が踊ったよ。しかしまあ一番の理由は体格だろうね。
Was she tiny?
私は背も高くて、
Oh.
体にメリハリもあったから。
確かに。
See, I was going with
主役として
fairy.
舞台に立ったら体は大きい方がいいだろ
ただね、月の満ち欠けまで計算して遠石から見える景色を良くするのに障害物をどけてさ。果樹園が近いから虫も多くて、 事前に歯についた幼虫を
わお
おらず駆除して、まあ結局かがり火の明かりで虫は寄ってきたんだけどね。そこまで用意したのに当日私の衣装にいたずらする奴らがいたのさ。虫の死骸をこすりつけられてね。でも私はそんなやわじゃない。キレで隠してうまくやり遂げたさ。結果は大絶賛。
Dancing.
やつは悔しがってたよ。
その話何度も聞いた。もっと違うことない？
可愛くない子だね。
It's in the OP!
Wow.
初めて見た。この幻想的な美女が金の亡者になるなんて。
これはその特使というのがわざわざ国に帰って絵描きに描かせたそうだよ。
By the envoy.
なるほど。この絵も美化されているわけか。
何か言ったかい？
なんでもないよ。
当人は二度とこの地を踏むことはなかったけど、キャラバンに預けて届けてくれた。
Aw.
やり手ババアは物事を客観視できる人間だ。誇張はないだろう。しかしいくら当時のばあさんが美人だったとしても、女神とまで言わしめたのは何だったのか。正直この絵に似た大柄な美女を見つけるのは難しいだろう。いっそ顔は似てなくても大柄な女を見つけてみてはどうでしょう。
We're the master of
て
disguise.
しまいましたが、当時は身長が175センチあったそうです。
しかし彼女たちに匹敵する美女で大柄となると難度が高いぞ。
徳司様たちもそれくらいの背丈ですし、あまり小さいとわらべのように見えるのでは。
徳司様たち一人ではないのですか？
ええ、同じ祖父を持ついとこだそうで。
Cousins.
さっきの物言いだと
The idea that the sisters in the story were not twins.
となればやはり背丈が175センチを超える美女を黙らせるほどの美貌の持ち主。あ、見つけました。大変敵役の人物。背丈が175センチを超える美人でしょ。
Goshen.
We did talk about how he and Alduo could switch places. Did you see that? Did you see that? I'm losing my mind. Looking for insects?
Oh. Okay, that was the Apothecary Diaries, Season 2, Episode 4. I don't know where to begin. I know where to begin.
Where do you want to begin?
Okay. End of the episode, we see Shisui with Glowy Moth.
Yes, we do.
In the depictions of Old Lady, we have glowy orbs mixed with the idea that while dancing and shedding the pearl tears, there's this atmosphere that's going on that I believe are the glowy moths that Shisui is seen with at the end of the episode. Mm-hmm. I also think that it wasn't just some cute little gross detail that the old lady got, you know, they played a fucked up trick on her and rubbed dead bugs on her. No. I think that needs to be utilized in order to get those glowy moths to be able to surround her. That is my, like a stink bug. That is my guess at the moment.
That we're going to need to do that to what? Recreate the
event? Yeah. I think that happenstance, I think that we're going to end up taking the most measured approach that we can to make sure that the atmosphere is the same.
Is identical as best we can. Objectively.
Yeah. Because during the episode, we see Jinshi's first attempt at it to please the cousins. And it seems like it was in a very similar room to where Jinshi was served. Yeah.
Met Mao Mao again.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to go north and we're going to try to recreate it to a T. And this one thing won't be able to be recreated because it won't be thought about until the actual moment. So maybe we're going to learn it through Shisui and through like the bug knowledge that we've seen in her books. Or maybe it's just going to be something Mao Mao's able to put together. But I think that that's going to be something.
Okay, so I definitely agree with you, not only that we're going to try to recreate the whole event itself and not just, hey, here's a Jinshi dressed up as a lady, you know.
Yeah.
We're going to try to actually recreate this event that gives the feeling of this moon fairy. I agree that Shisui would most definitely be involved here. I mean, from their first kind of meeting, her and Mao Mao, it seems like they have a lot in common, could definitely have a friendship, but mainly we know that Shisui has a love for insects and even has a book where she is diagramming them, drawing them, seeing what bugs are actually in this area. If anyone would have knowledge of what bugs are in this area and what they could become, and I'm going to say become because when we get the flashback, they're specifically picking up larvae and like caterpillars off of leaves, which tells me that like I could even say that maybe we don't do the carcass or the carcass doesn't work for some reason. And maybe we like try to do blue roses where we like try to grow these moths, butterflies ourselves.
Interesting.
And like from the larva stage.
I feel like because of how intentionally blurred it was in the painting, that's the thing. Like that's the big, I don't know, like thing like that's in front of our face that is going to be the missing link that is shown at the end of the episode.
The thing that's in front of our face.
Yes, I think the blue blurry things, obviously the glowy moths at the end of the episode, and that's going to be the thing that like inevitably clicks.
Or that we realize what it was.
Like it's yet to happen that we realize what it was as
right, because we would need what Shisui to interact with Mao Mao and be like, hey, these are the bugs that are in the north area. Or...
No, more like it once the dance is happening. Once I hope that Jinshi's trained by the old lady. That's my headcanon. But once it's actually happening and occurring, I imagine like in the distance we see one, and then it clicks, like, oh, that's what was being depicted in the painting, you know?
Oh, so you're thinking that, like, maybe we don't even have this revelation of information
Not at all.
And then we just have the event itself almost transpire maybe the same way it did 50 years ago, except for the carcass part. And then...
this time it will be intentional, whereas the carcass part wasn't intentional to draw the butterflies before, the moths before. I think it will be an intentional realization, and that will be like the aha moment.
Originally, the carcass was what, like sabotage from people that were jealous of the old lady?
Yeah.
I feel like if we're talking about recreating the event, I feel like you would have to say that this event would be more public than just for the envoys. I feel like to go through the work of possibly training Jinshi to do the dance, dressing him up, the emperor would most definitely want to be there, right?
Maybe.
And if we're going to want to do it in the north side, there's going to be a lot of like cleaning that's probably going to have to be done for like the ceremonial site.
It might be just for like we might be having to meet any desire or request that the cousins are even having. What if they request it being closed off, you know?
That's true, but why I wanted to bring up other people maybe being there or it being a more public event is to continue the idea of there was sabotage originally. Yes, it was by jealousy, but what if there would be sabotage again, but in a way that is not actually recreating the events, is some other person doing something that we have no clue what it's going to be because it didn't happen 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what if sabotage continues as a theme in recreating the event? Why would they want to sabotage? You know, it wouldn't be like jealousy of the other dancers, like the old lady's getting all the attention for her beautiful moon fairy body. I feel like you could go with something else that was brought up in the episode, I think in this episode specifically, about the envoys. There's like a really important, they're here for a really important reason. That's why there were so many people coming in the caravan. They're being treated, obviously, as special guests. And we're doing any request that they ask for, even if it sounds crazy, like finding a moon fairy from 50 years ago. It's like in a really important trade deal.
See,
why would someone want to sabotage that?
I don't think so. I think that, like, obviously that exists as a possibility, just narratively that doesn't make sense to me at the moment, because, like, in the relation of the trade that's going on, we are in debt right now, right? We are trying to satisfy them. We've gotten these beautiful mirrors. We've attempted to give them what they've asked for, and it hasn't worked.
And we've failed so far.
Yeah, I think that we are narratively in a position that there's something that needs to be fulfilled, and we just need to figure out what that is exactly, and it won't happen until the last second. I don't want to talk
okay.
about that too much though, because there's so much other thing.
Okay.
Like, so much other things to talk about.
Then we'll go to another topic.
End of the episode. So this is gonna be confusing. For me. So we get Lao Lin talking to the Emperor, and she's standing with a lady in waiting. Period. Another thing to bring up, like in a parallel way, is everything we got this episode about what Mao Mao deduced from the mirror story, the pregnancy, and then getting the revelation for Mao Mao that there are two of them and they're cousins, right? And they look the same and they're from the grandfather, right? Those two things could be so easily like intertwined or connected in the theme or the larger part of the story here, right? You could try to apply like Lao Lin being able to be Shisui because of a sibling or because of a cousin. I don't think that's the case. After we see Lao Lin here, we go immediate to Shisui, and it seems like Shisui and Lao Lin have different color hair, right? It seems like Shisui might have more brown hair and Lao Lin is more like a purple. And then in the picture of the lady in waiting with with Lao Lin, it looks like Lao Lin has purple hair and then the lady in waiting has brown hair, and they look somewhat similar, but I feel like all of the ladies in waiting look pretty similar to Lao Lin. I'm even fucking up the names.
I agree that, like, specifically if you look at this picture, the eye shape, I mean, that could give it to you, the way the hair is parted. I would say the only thing that is dissimilar about them is the hair color. But I also feel like I haven't noticed any drastic differences between, like, Lao Lin's ladies in waiting in general.
Yeah.
From kind of looking like her.
All of them? Like, the sheer volume of ladies in waiting?
Like, she has, like, the most out of anyone. Yeah, okay, but where you could go with this being the last thing you see is, like, Lao Lin meeting with the Emperor. This is the bookend, and there was another bookend at the beginning, you know, holding up the stack of books for this episode was also a meeting with a man by a look-alike type scenario being the envoys. We start the episode off with the envoys having all the mirrors, what I would assume are the mirrors with tarps covering them that they're going to be gifting to the 4 concubines. And then one of them gets up and goes to, like, meet with someone. And I don't know who it was, just from how quick I saw who it was. So they see all the mirrors. What I'm assuming is the mirrors covered in sheets. I agree with you. And then one of them gets up.
Yeah.
And then goes to meet with someone.
Maybe.
Oh my god, did you see that?
Yeah.
The guy watching them from the building, they are the story. Okay. So they're meeting, doesn't that look like Lao Lin's dad? Shiso? Kind of. Maybe it's just an old guy. It could 100% just be an old guy.
When do we get Shiso?
At the very end, Blue Roses.
Like, yeah, I know. I don't think they look alike.
Okay, but it might be just an old man. But I just thought of why it could be cool if it was Shiso. Okay, go on. You can look for Shiso while I bring up why it could be cool that it's Shiso. So Shiso's the only character that Jinshi has specified he can't read his mind. He's like, I don't know what he's thinking. Jinshi has said that once again in this episode. It's not just the mirrors. What are the envoys thinking? Is something Jinshi said in this episode that I had wanted to bring up. Because I'm like, he obviously is suspicious of them. Like, that's why I wanted to bring it up. There's that idea Mao Mao even brings up after the story. Are we suspicious of, is there like spies going on, you know? Are we suspicious of guests being spies? Is that the story that Gaoshin's actually telling? And we're kind of getting confirmation from Jinshi here with that line that he sees the mirrors as a possible trick in itself. Like, we are being, putting our guard down, and maybe we should be having our guard up against them for some reason. And if they're meeting with the one other character in this universe that Jinshi can't read his mind, there we go.
Okay. I am almost
You pulled them both
there.
up, kind of?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I'd say that it's Shiso.
Yeah, you would?
Right? I mean, obviously
think
we
it
don't get the
looks-
same emblem on the top part of the head wrap, and the body's different, but
that was also ceremonial garb.
Exactly.
That was for a party. Like,
I
I think it's
feel
him.
like they are close enough. Like, I'd put it in the same type of, like, confidence or category as I would Shin, being, like, that we had seen Shin in season 1.
Mhm.
I'd say that it's similar enough.
right.
So, going off your thought
Mhm.
that if they're meeting with Shiso, how would that... Would it bear any connection with Lao Lin's potential being of Shisui? Like, would there be, like, an ulterior motive there? Because I don't think so. I see Lao Lin as Shiso a solely for Lao Lin thing. I don't...
Like, Shisui is solely for Lelin.
Correct. I don't think it's like a manufactured character from a third party or from her father to
For
try to do
plot.
anything malicious. Yeah.
I think I would agree with that it does, in my read, because of how happy and carefree Shisui is as a character, seemingly kind of living her best life, sneaking off into other areas to look for bugs, it gives the idea that this is a character that has passions that are not for a high-standing lady to be acting in.
Yeah.
Like, sneaking out at night and playing with bugs isn't necessarily something that Lao Lin would be allowed to do, or it would be looked down upon. So I could definitely see it being for her that she does it, if they are the same person.
Man, it's so hard though. Like, why?
Another, now that I think about it, so we have, obviously, with the caravan is this idea of, like, all of these fashions and fads and spices and things from the West coming into the country. Shisui, so Shisho, see, it's
so hard,
their names are
yeah.
so similar. Shiso could have a relationship with the envoys previous to now because of the fact that his daughter, Laolin, has love for fashions from other places.
Yeah.
So it could be that he previously had a trade connection with them in order to get clothing and garments for his daughter that are not necessarily ones easily found here and would need to be traded in. So maybe we already had a pre-existing connection with the envoys before this possible meeting because of that.
This show, like, the more it goes on, the more it feels like it's like a generational sitcom or a generational, like, mystery. Like, it feels like everything has so many, like, obviously just by the nature of where we're at and there being an emperor and there being so many offshoots, like, there's going to importance in family and lineage, like, makes sense, and I'd expect it. But, like, even Mao Mao's connections and how everything's tied together and Lacan is where he is. It's so hard to... I feel like I need, like, a genealogy, like, tree in front of me.
We don't have all the answers yet. Like, I feel like when we first started season 2, I even brought up that we don't necessarily know which family line Mao Mao is actually from.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we know who her dad is, but, like, her dad is separated from his own family.
Yeah.
You know, due to remarrying and his, like, half-brothers or stepbrothers taking on the family name and the family work.
Damn.
Another, like, kind of... I feel like there's so many themes that are always coming in multiple times in the story. Like, no theme or idea comes in once and then leaves. It comes in multiple times.
That's what's so confusing now, because it's so easy to, like, put on what we learned this episode about the cousins and try to apply it to the Laolin situation, but I don't think I'm supposed to.
Yeah, okay, so, like, to talk about we're back to the cousins, and I feel like we need to bring up, what was the purpose of the story from Gaoshin? I feel like Mao Mao even comes out of it not believing that pregnancy was the actual... that it could be something, like, even bigger than pregnancy that was being, like, hidden or secretly snuck out to do that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So what is the actual purpose of the story? I think we've come to kind of the conclusion ourselves through discussing it. that we do believe it is a story about the envoys. I mean, we even, because we just looked back to see who they were meeting with and saw that there was a man up in a balcony looking down at what is probably where they're staying.
Potentially,
which literally paints the picture to me of the story that Gaoshin tells. The story, is it just like an introduction of the themes of the episode, like mirrors, trickery, lookalikes, but then pregnancy being chosen? Are we choosing pregnancy because that's already just been introduced as a theme that is like really reoccurring both for positive reasons and negative reasons? When we have kind of the red light district, the pleasure district, it's like a really negative thing, and then obviously season 1 kind of ends off with like Mao Mao's mom did in fact want to have Mao Mao, but then it didn't go exactly how she planned. You know, she wanted the family. And then we have the concubines who definitely really want to be pregnant. Like, why are we using pregnancy here?
I don't know if we are yet. Like, obviously we are. But
I
don't know.
don't think we're literally like that it's true. I don't feel like one of the envoys is pregnant.
Yeah. That's why I feel like okay, in my mind I'm trying to separate noise and like
like the story from like maybe the truth.
Yeah, and so like in my mind I'm like, no, put it aside right now. I'm shelving it. I can't focus on it right now.
So you don't want to try to pick it apart?
Yeah, because I don't know. I think it might be for naught. Like,
okay.
Or at least momentarily for naught. And I'm already confused enough.
That's so fair. I feel like I shouldn't say more about other things.
No,
I'm,
go
like,
on.
Things apart. So, no, I don't want to like pick things apart and confuse you.
Hey, you are smarter than I am.
No, sometimes I'm like way stupider than you.
Go on.
So, after the story. So look, I'm leaving the story. Mao Mao brings up this idea of like how powerful the mind is in order to create like physical reactions within the body.
Mm-hmm.
How someone can convince themselves that they're pregnant. So one of my fears,
is you're gonna do that?
What?
You're gonna do that?
No.
Okay.
So one of my fears, because themes always come back in the stories, in this story, and ideas always come back. My fear is, since miscarriage is such a kind of current topic, we have Lady Luiha kind of rubbing her stomach. I'm like, please tell me we're not introducing this idea of this one concubine, courtesan in the pleasure district convincing herself she's pregnant because she wants so badly to be pregnant. Please tell me we're not going to parallel that. Please tell me we're not going to recreate that in the story as something that happens.
In the other direction?
As Lady Luiha thinking she's pregnant.
Oh.
That's just like another like place I'm like, oh no, don't go there. If she's pregnant, like I would want her to actually be pregnant because I know how much she wants it.
Like you don't want her to be in the situation that she's manifesting it and feeling the symptoms, but it's actually heartbreak. I'm with you. I don't want that either. Of course not.
I'm so glad that you also mutually don't want that. Let's see, what do I have anything else?
Mao Mao's got the bear gall, finally. Or, not finally, but that's good for her.
Isn't it... Was it not the bear gall before? It was the ox bazaar.
Yeah.
And now she has a bear gallbladder.
Yes, because we're told about the higher demand now for things like that. And I love that
Isn't that
is
fun?
Still like,
That he's being gifted all of these random... medicinal
but it's also his
from
interest
people.
in it and his desire and him wanting to even be there today when Mao Mao is gifted it, you know?
Of course he did. Remember his reaction to like Mao Mao getting like the winter cloak and Gaoshin's the one that like puts it on her and she thanks him and Jinji's like, hey.
Yeah.
I'm the one that got that for her. Yeah, I'm sure it was really hard for him to agree to not be there to gift her that. Yeah, I think the last thing I would have is like a question for you.
Okay.
Why the north? Why is the north part of the palace coming into the story so often right now? Like, is it just for the things we've already gotten? Like the corpse being buried there? The fact that there was this, the ruins of the ceremonial area? it has been incorporated into the capital when it previously, like, this was the capital wasn't here 50 years ago.
I think it's as simple as it was a popular spot, so the capital, they decided to build it there, and then...
But why wasn't it maintained if it was so popular?
Because I don't think there's anything to it.
I guess I'm just reading into everything to kind of find all the clues.
If there is, I don't know if I have evidence to, like, make me suspicious of it, other than just, like, the only thing that would drive me there at the moment is, like, wow, I've seen the word north come up a few times, so there has to be something there, you know? Like, I think that, like, they're choosing to go in a direction right now narratively that has a few things aligning with that, but I don't know if there's anything to it yet.
So I'm not necessarily reading into it expecting that there is something to it, more so reading into it like, is there going to be something else? Like, we already have 2-3 things that are occurring there. Is there going to be another plot?
What, the fact that there was a body, we're trying to do the vocational training there now as per Mao Mao's request, and
now
then
the ceremony.
I feel like those, like, yes, okay, I see where you're coming from in the, are there gonna be more than 3 things? Are there, you know?
Or is 3 the magic number?
No, because if 3's the magic number, there's nothing to it, I feel like, you know? There's not enough anything.
I feel like I'm, like, spinning my wheels like Mao is in the Jasmine Tea, like, episode. Like, how much is actually connecting? You know, how much is coincidence and how much isn't?
That's why I'm trying to get rid of the noise.
But you don't even know if it's noise. You won't know. It's
that's
a
why you
hindsight
temporarily shelf it, right?
Okay.
Focus on what's happening in the episode, and then we could talk about it.
All right.
Mao, I wish I was you.
Look at me putting my stuff on a shelf, an imaginary shelf right now.
Yeah.
You happy about that?
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.